I'm really happy that two things I really want to talk about are colliding right at the same time, so then I don't have to break it up into separate videos, and I think they make for great topics to contrast on. First is Aaron O'Toole resigning from the Conservative Party from his seat in Durham, not, I guess, from the Conservative Party, but, leaving politics and on his way out trying to trip Pierre Poilievre and the more blue Conservatives on his way out. And then the other thing I want to talk about is Blaine Higgs, the Premier of New Brunswick, standing up for parental rights and winning. So what I want to take on is the myth that somehow being unpassionate conservatives will eventually mean that the Conservative Party will win some massive majority. That was effectively the modus operandi of Aaron O'Toole in 2021, or since 2020, after he pretended to be a blue conservative, won the leadership, and then basically betrayed his base on almost every single issue. He proved that if you moderate heavily, you're not going to have this big flood of liberals jumping over onto your bandwagon and pushing you to victory. The media is going to keep criticizing you. It doesn't matter if you do exactly what they want to be not called a big, scary blue radical conservative. They're just going to find something else they don't like about you, or pretend that you didn't pivot to the left on one of your policies and keep calling you right wing. You're never going to win that way. And it also happened a little bit to Andrew Scheer. Even though I think Andrew Scheer was not a bad leader, he had a lot of people around him basically saying, tone down your message, don't talk about being a social conservative, don't touch social issues, just talk about boutique tax credits, and we'll just pray that we're going to win. And it just didn't work either. But Aaron O'Toole was kind of like the imperfection perfected version of the moderate conservative candidate, and it proved that doing that will never actually bring voters out. Voters like to vote for things that are people who are passionate about specific issues. People don't exactly run out of their houses because Aaron O'Toole is going to give you some O'Toole bucks at the gas pump so you can buy solar panels. Nobody cares. It's so just a dead, boring issue. No one's going to get excited and donate to the Conservative Party or volunteer when you abandon your socially conservative base, who tend to actually be some of the heaviest volunteering members of the Conservative Party. You shouldn't be shocked when your campaigns underperform. Now, going to Blaine Higgs, the Premier of New Brunswick, he's changing policy 713 when it comes to gender and sexual orientation policy in schools. And he's becoming wildly popular in New Brunswick. Yes, there's people resigning from his cabinets who are these fence riding red Tories. But overall, people in New Brunswick are extremely supportive of the changes that he's making. A poll that came out from Ledger shows that 57% of Canadians all across the country support what Blaine Higgs is doing, which is effectively just girding up parental rights, basically saying that if your child tries to identify as the opposite gender or some sort of weird in the middle thing like being non-binary, the parents have to be informed. You don't get to keep secrets from the parents at school. No random theoretical justification or excuse of saying, well, maybe the parents will be rude to their kid or be abusive to their kid if they're made known about this. It's a fringe hypothetical to basically undermine parental rights. And Blaine Higgs was not tricked by people trying to push that stuff on him. And again, 57% of Canadians nationally support what Blaine Higgs is doing. In Atlantic Canada, it's 69%. And again, with the 57% who are approving, only 18% nationally disapproved of what Blaine Higgs was doing, and then the rest are probably, undecided, seeing what everyone else thinks. And based on the way that public opinion has gone, I guarantee most of the undecided people are also going to break in the direction of supporting parental rights. Again, the media is trying to trash Blaine Higgs. You have Justin Trudeau coming out and basically saying that he's not letting kids be themselves or whatever, as if buying into gender theory because your teacher is talking to you about it is really being yourself. That's not being yourself. That's just being a pawn to a progressive agenda. Anyways, but this is the 100% polar opposite of what Aaron O'Toole did. Blaine Higgs, and I have to give a lot of credit to Chris Austin, the former New Brunswick People's Alliance Party leader, who I think has been one of the driving forces behind the scenes on pushing the New Brunswick government to change policy 713 to actually support parental rights and make sure that parents are kept informed about what their kids up to at school. That this stuff is demonstrating that people actually like it when you stand up to progressive bullies. Aaron O'Toole always cowered in the face of progressive bullies, and no one wanted to stand up for Aaron O'Toole. No one, if Aaron O'Toole is our leader, why are we going to show up for him if he's always cowering? I don't want to support a guy who's not willing to support me on the issues. Blaine Higgs is obviously willing to back up parents and to back up social conservatives. So he's doing wildly well in his province. Yes, New Brunswick is a little bit more of a socially conservative province compared to somewhere like Quebec or Ontario. But Doug Ford, when he was running in the 2018 provincial election his first time around, even though he's become a very red Toryish hack these days, in 2018 he effectively won a lot of the GTA because he stood up for parental rights and he wanted to scrap the very perverted sex ed curriculum, in which it's not even sex ed, it's just sexual ed at this point. It's just kind of pushing almost borderline pornographic materials on children. When you actually run on issues that people are passionate about, no matter what the media says, if it's a popular or unpopular issue, you will win ground. Justin Trudeau, we look at as conservatives at the things that Justin Trudeau runs on, and there are these weird fringe, socially progressive issues that the vast majority of people do not, care about. And even with a minority of approval on some of these issues, or a minority of the Canadian people agreeing with Justin Trudeau on his hyper progressive sort of virtue signaling kind of policies, he drives out the specific community that like those views, and they vote liberal, and that's what keeps Justin Trudeau in power. And if we only choose policies where 80% of Canadians are on our side, because who could disagree with us on tax credits, who could disagree with us on being against corruption, you're always going to lose, because you're not grabbing a hot button issue that people really care about and giving them a motivation to come out and vote. If all they're coming out to vote for is that they might get an extra $100 or $200 back on their power bills, they're not going to show up. And that's kind of what happened in the provincial election with the UCP. I never found that there was a hot button issue that the Conservative Party, the United Conservative Party, had jumped on until the last couple of weeks. What probably helped us win, that we started talking about crime and cutting income taxes, but it was a little too late. So I think we ended up losing some seats that we didn't need to lose. So at the end of the day, Aaron O'Toole's theory of politics, that the idea that you're just supposed to appeal to that theoretical voter right in the middle of the country and you're going to win every election, is foolish. People are passionate about things, and the theoretical average voter that strategy firms come up with is an unpassionate person. So you always are going to lose elections when you try and assume that there is a way of averaging every single Canadian into one person to pitch to. You're always going to stop talking about any issues that matter to anyone and become the boring in the middle party. It's like becoming, the Alberta Party and Alberta politics. The Alberta Party stands for nothing, so they lost all their voters after 2019. They basically collapsed. I think they were only running like 17 candidates. It was truly pathetic. So if the Conservative Party wants to beat Justin Trudeau next time, they should do what Poilievre actually just did today, and back people like Blaine Higgs and say that he's standing up for parents, and I'm not going to get in the way of him standing up for parents.